Trump has an offer right now for every federal employee. His administration is now offering to pay every federal worker to resign. President Donald Trump's promise to tighten federal spending is set to hit roughly 2 million federal employees Tuesday, who will start receiving emails allowing them to take a deferred resignation, according to media reports. The resignation buyouts include a severance package of approximately 8 months' pay with benefits, a move that a senior administration official told NBC News could save the government around $100 billion. Here's how it actually works. An employee wishing to take the buyout and resign can reply to a draft resignation letter also sent to them with one word: resign. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt described the buyouts as very generous. Trump's press secretary offered a statement on this, and here's what she had to say. She said, American taxpayers pay for the salaries of federal government employees and therefore deserve employees working on their behalf who actually show up to work in our wonderful federal buildings, also paid for by taxpayers. If they don't want to work in the office and contribute to making America great again, then they are free to choose a different line of work, and the Trump administration will provide a very generous payout of 8 months. The Trump administration expects 5 to 10% of the federal workforce to quit between Tuesday and the end of the resignation period on February 6th. NBC News said, if you choose to remain in your current position, we thank you for your renewed focus on serving the American people to the best of your abilities and look forward to working together as part of an improved federal workforce. Federal workers will be told in the email, according to the network. At this time, we cannot give you full assurance regarding the certainty of your position or agency, but should your position be eliminated, you will be treated with dignity and will be afforded the protections in place for such positions. Well, does this sound familiar? It might, because it is actually very reminiscent of similar actions that were taken previously by Elon Musk. Back in 2022, the tech billionaire sent a similar email to Twitter employees asking them to commit to an extremely hardcore schedule or leave. The subject line was a fork in the road, the same metaphor referenced by the Trump administration on Tuesday. And yeah, I said this yesterday. It's because no one is original anymore. If you said it, someone else did it or said it before you. I guess this is what happens when people want a president who will run a country like a business. Typically, there isn't complete staff turnover whenever there's an administration shift in government. These are jobs, they aren't elected positions. But I keep saying, a country is not a business. You can't run it like a business. It doesn't or shouldn't run like one. Businesses are about efficiency and they're about profit, and governing is about taking care of people. And of course, money's involved. Like, we're not being naive about this, but the money shouldn't be the highest or only priority when running a country. And with people like Trump and the Republicans in control, it really does seem like money is the only thing that they care about. And this, ties into what we were just talking about in the previous story. But Senator Tim Kaine warned federal workers that Trump's buyout offer is probably bogus. According to CBS News Capitol Hill correspondent Alan He, Kaine issued his warning on the Senate floor on Tuesday following reports of the buyout proposal. The president has no authority to make that offer, said Kaine. There's no budget line item to pay people who are not showing up for work. If you accept that offer and resign, he'll stiff you. And we know how much Trump loves to not pay people. Additionally, Trump removed 2 commissioners on the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission years before their terms were to expire. One of those commissioners, Charlotte A. Burrows, who is Black, and her attorneys reacted to the firing on Tuesday. Burrows was first appointed as the EEOC commissioner in 2015, serving under Presidents Barack Obama, Trump, and Joe Biden. She also served as chair of the commission from January 2021 to January 2025. She was recently confirmed for a 3rd term, which was to expire in July 2028. Samuel's term was to expire in 2026. After being sworn in as president for a 2nd term on January 20th, Trump appointed Andrea Lucas to serve as EEOC chair. Lucas has made it clear that one of her top priorities is to root out DEI in both the public and private sectors, a top focus of the Trump administration. So yeah, this shouldn't be surprising. We all know that Trump loves to surround himself not just with competent people necessarily, but with loyal people. That's the thing that he values above all else. He can't stomach the idea of someone who doesn't like him or support him working in his government. As the kids would say, it's giving paranoid a little bit. And this line from his press secretary about how people need to work in the office in the federal buildings, it really is taking a page out of all of those tech layoffs that we saw. They knew that if they insisted on return to office following the pandemic, that a chunk of their employees would choose to just quit instead, which is exactly what they wanted to happen. Layoffs look bad. They're bad for bottom lines. They're bad for shareholder value. Firing is expensive. Firing requires severance packages. But if people quit, problem solved. It's making a relationship so intolerable that the person breaks up with you so that you don't have to break up with them yourself and be all uncomfortable and cost you money. But I do agree with Tim Kaine. Trump's probably going to renege on his buyout promise. The people who are likely to take him up on his offer are likely going to be people that Trump doesn't like anyway because they don't like him. He's got no loyalty to them because he assumes that they have no loyalty to him. He's trying to build a team of loyalists and yes, people like he just likes those yes people around him because I'm sure he's heard the reports that we all heard coming out of the first administration where he could have done a lot more and been a lot worse were it not for people within the administration hindering him and slowing him down. I'm assuming he doesn't want that to happen again this time around. What do you think, Tehran?
I think that when government officials run the government like a business, then business things happen. And you know what happens to Trump's businesses? They go bankrupt. And this is a perfect example. If everyone, I would love for everyone in the federal government to quit their jobs, every single person. Take that resign offer and see how that goes. That would be unity. And then we'd spend so much more, infinitely more, to get everything back. That would be a perfect I told you so. This is not how things work. Are you upset because they're not in the office? That's the enemy of progress. That's literally what it is. We know that when people are working from home, especially at the government, that they are much more efficient and effective. Productivity is actually up. So if you've ever had to call the IRS, if you did so 4 years ago, you never got through. Now when you do, people actually pick up. There's someone on that chat line. This is how things work. The government is not our overlords. You are our property managers. We, the American people, we the people, the most powerful words in the English language, we the people own this property. Manage it and manage it well. This is part of the problem. By the way, it's only been 168 hours. This guy's only been here 168 hours. Buckle up, it's gonna be a long ride.
Oh my God, 160. Like that sounds like not that long, but it feels like it's been an eternity. But you're right, it's the budgeting thing, right? It's the money thing. It's always the money thing. And it's almost like it's just unoriginal and boring, that every time it's like, oh, it's the money thing again. Every time something wants to happen, something that the people want, something that's actually going to benefit the people in the United States, the actual citizens, the voting citizens, suddenly there's no money for it. But as you said in the previous story, there's always money in the budget for the military. What is the military up to, like $850 billion? Like the DOD lost all the money, right? They can't pass an audit, right? So there's all this money that is not accounted for, but suddenly there's no money for anything that would actually benefit the people, right? And anytime something is proposed, something new, that's the question. It's like, oh, where are we going to get the money for that? Like you never ask that whenever you need to send billions of dollars overseas or whenever you need to invest billions of dollars, nearly $1 trillion into the military and into the Department of Defense. So it really is a very tired excuse. And it's kind of baffling that it still holds any weight, that people still take that and we're like, yeah, what are you going to do? The money is there. It's just being mismanaged. It's being allocated to places where it maybe shouldn't be. But that's the problem is there's this much money and between the two sides and even within the two sides, you have to find that compromise as far as how much money to allocate where. And that line is going to be different for everybody. And, people on the right are going to feel like more money needs to be put into certain things. People on the left are going to say more money needs to be put into these other things. And they need to find that compromise somewhere. But again, it's never about the people. It's always about the government and the senators, all their money, the CEOs, the usual. Any final thoughts, Tehran, before we go to our next break?
I did want to just say that while we're running this government like a business, why is it running it like a bad business? Why aren't we running it like a good business? Why aren't we running it like a more efficient business? Why aren't we running it like one of those profit sharing businesses where you see so much high productivity because people all feel engaged and as if they have value there. You know, the United States has more money than any other country on this planet, and yet we mismanage it so poorly. We have horrible GSA scheduling. We have budgets that say if you don't use all the money, then we're going to actually punish you for it the next year. These are things that we can fix. I love shaking up the government. This system does not work for us, but this is not the right shakeup. This is a shakedown.
Yeah. And to your earlier point, you did point out working from home, right? That has been so much better for businesses on so many different metrics, right? There's a small argument that, oh, there's more collaboration whenever people are in office. It's better for mentorship, that kind of thing. But as far as the numbers go, which is, businesses are supposed to be run by the numbers and by the dollars. As far as the numbers go, productivity was up. People were happier at work. If you have happy employees, you have good employees, you have productive employees. Everyone was happier. Everyone was performing better. The revenue, the profits, those all went up. They didn't go down, right? So everything across the board was better. And so then you wonder why, then, if the numbers are actually good, if this is actually benefiting the company, then why is the company insisting that all these people go back to work? And the reason is because they want to lay people off. They hire too many people. So they always have an ulterior motive. There's always an agenda behind it, right? And so then to your point about bad businesses versus good businesses, I made the point earlier that businesses are about money and government is about people. Thing is, businesses are also about people, right? Like maybe to a lesser extent in the sense that businesses are, uh, they're in place in the first place at all because they need to make money, right? That is their primary purpose and goal. But if you have good people working there for you, then you have a better business, right? More people are going to want to grow with you and to help your business grow. So it makes sense from a business perspective to take care of your employees. And you wouldn't have to be fighting all these battles all the time. You would just be able to do the thing that your business wants to do. You wouldn't have to be fighting with labor and all of these other things. So it is very exhausting. It's like a weird way to go about doing any kind of business or governance, but here we are.